Dino and Brain working intently. Hey, look at that neat thing over there. Detour? Small detour. It was not in fact a small detour. It's been 3 hours and you completely forgot that you were doing something else in the first place. You will find out eventually again. When you open your laptop to do something else you think of in that moment. Only to realize you never finished the thing, and I really hope you saved whatever you were doing before your laptop or something crashes because it runs out of battery. You know, because if you're like me, you probably religiously save like every 2 types of the keyboard really, because you're so paranoid of accidentally pulling the plug of your PC again or having your laptop crash. Has my laptop that I currently have ever crashed? No. Or ran out of battery? No. But I will still do it. Do you know how many times an online page or like an online version of something has told me, bro, relax, we save automatically, stop trying to save this, and I still do it. It's so ingrained in me at this point, you know? Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. We have to do some neurodivergent memes again, because why not? Just why not, really, it's what we do. But either way, you know the deal, before we continue, y'all gotta get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. Are you hydrated? Good. Let's go. Why do you need a label? Because there is comfort in knowing that you're a normal zebra and not a strange horse. Because you can't find community with other zebras if you don't know you belong. And because it is impossible for a zebra to be happy or healthy spending its life feeling like a failed horse. Once again, we're doing something that isn't technically a meme, but we're still including this. Come on, because literally this is why so many people want a diagnosis, or feel that it is completely necessary to at least self-diagnose, because it's a lot easier to accept certain things if you know why they are the way they are. If you know that you can't handle loud crowds or like shopping malls, it's a lot easier to know that it is because your brain makes you have sensory issues versus, oh yeah, no, I think I just need to try harder to stay calm. Like other people do it so easily. Like I'm sure I can too. When other people's brains just work differently. So it is actually like a great realization really, and it can literally just help you accept things and not give yourself too much shit for things you literally have no control over, because that's just the way your brain works. I can't believe I'm supposed to take care of my whole body. It's too many moving parts, I can't keep up. You're telling me that a Formula 1 car gets a pit crew and I get one jackass with ADHD? Shaking my head, this is annoying. It's a little bit like the whole zookeeper analogy, like you kind of have to be your own zookeeper. And just feeling wildly unprepared for it, but that's somehow helping. But still, how? Something as unnecessary as Formula 1 gets a whole freaking pit crew. But you as a human get one jackass with ADHD. I hate to tell you this, but that's kind of the deal. But the good news is, especially if you have other neurodivergent friends who just get it on a different level, but even if you have neurotypical friends, you can still build a support system. It might not be a whole pit crew or as qualified as a pit crew, but if you have people to support you who like don't give you shit and just like help you out and like actually help you out, if they know you literally find it impossible to make a phone call and they offer to do it for you, or they just do it for you because because they know you won't, call that doctor to make an appointment or something. It might not be a pit crew, but you can get something pit crew-like, I guess. I wore everything, a wallet, phone, keys, my other stuff's here too. I forgot nothing. forgot breakfast, and hopefully did not burn the house down. In the meantime, I'm sometimes really glad that I'm German, right? Because in German culture, it's like very normal to eat like bread for breakfast or cereal or something like that. So you don't have a stove that you have on. In other cultures, it's pretty normal to actually cook breakfast. The amount of times I would probably manage to leave the stove on, because so far it's only happened when I like made dinner. But then usually like I take the dinner, eat it in the living room, and then come back to the kitchen to put the plates away, and I'm just like, oh, that plate is definitely still on. But I've never managed to burn the house down, luckily, because I don't cook for breakfast because I don't have the energy in the morning, really. You know, I'm autistic, so I guess it's natural that I will never, ever be able to understand exactly when is the correct time to add my point to a group conversation. Watching the conversation move on to a totally different topic while a really good point is left unsaid is a very specific autistic sadness. It is really sad. But you also, especially if you're like ADHD, you've been told off repeatedly for interrupting other people. So you don't want to like interrupt while someone else is making a point, because well, they have a point too and you want to let them finish, but you also really want to make your point and you're afraid of forgetting your point. But then you can't, and then someone else is like, oh no, but, and just moves to a totally different direction, and you never said it, and at some point you just don't even try anymore. Maybe that's just me. I have a really hard time with group conversations. And then sometimes I'm so zoned out, and then someone's like, no, but what about you? And then just like suddenly talks to you, and you're just kind of startled by it, and then you don't know what to say anymore. Don't yeet balls at my face, please. Like conversation balls. Maybe not actual balls either, but conversation balls are also tricky, you know? Executive dysfunction isn't just for things you don't want to do. I've been meaning to go get ice cream for like an hour now. Yeah, this is too freaking real though. I spent 2 hours the other night intending to watch TV and never did. That is the difference between procrastination and executive dysfunction. Literally this. And I feel like that's the thing neurotypicals a lot of times don't get. They think it's just you being lazy and that you don't want to do those things because those things might be unpleasant. Like you don't want to do the dishes because it's just like annoying, right? No one likes doing the dishes. Some people actually really do. My sister had this teacher who described it to bathing in butter as a good thing, because personally that just sounds like a nightmare, but to her it was a good thing. I don't know how these people exist, but apparently they do. But anyways, neurotypicals sometimes seem to think that it's just because you don't want to do those things, because you know it'll be unpleasant. Like no one likes doing the boring things or the annoying things. You know, like some things like taking the trash out or something might be gross, and that's why you don't want to do it. When in reality, you would really love to do the thing because you know it's stinking up your kitchen, or it just like looks messy and it's making you more anxious than you probably already are, and you really want to do those things. But even if it isn't something unpleasant, if it's something you know you'll really enjoy, like your favorite show just dropped new episodes, and you want to watch them, but you can't move to do it. A lazy person wouldn't. A lazy person would use it as an excuse to just sit there and watch those episodes because they want to. And honestly, that just seems fair, but if you can't, it's not laziness. Food bloggers, are you ready for an easy weeknight meal? Yes. You'll probably even have most of those ingredients on hand. Okay, awesome. Okay, start by milking your goats. Maybe not this exact step, but this is literally kind of what it feels like. That is like, here's a quick, like, week time meal, and they just start chopping by like 5 different vegetables. And like, especially if it includes steps like, oh, you should do this step like 2 hours beforehand so you can, whatever, soak your lentils or marinate your tofu or whatever it is. Like, do the step beforehand. Bro, if you think I have the planning skills to think about what I want for dinner that early in the day, and then check if I have all the ingredients on hand, and then prep some of the ingredients, and then put it down and come back to it later, you're wildly underestimating how easy this recipe is for some people. Like, yeah, some people might legitimately be able to do this. They just like, whatever, if they work from home, they go on their lunch break to the kitchen, do the step, put it in the fridge for later, and then just like finish the rest of the dinner. But if you have ADHD, you won't know that you're hungry until it's too late, and you technically know you need dinner at some point, but you won't be thinking about it that much to have the planning ready and the just know. While on Zoom, I received a message from the host. While I appreciate you staying muted, we can see exactly what you're thinking based on your facial expressions. I'm going to ask you to turn off your video as well, thank you. I don't know how not to be this person. I feel like especially with autistic people, there's kind of this cliche probably that we don't have facial expressions, that we don't, emote well. And for a lot of autistic people, that might be true. But I feel like it's either that or just having too many facial expressions. I've somehow managed to spend years not having facial expressions because whatever facial expressions I pulled apparently were just a little bit off and people thought it was strange, so I just kind of stopped doing it altogether. But my face just moves. I don't have the energy to control it, and I don't want to, and I just don't. But a lot of times, I move my face, not because I'm doing like a facial expression to express thoughts. I'm also doing facial expressions because it just kind of as a form of stimming, or my face feels tight and I just want to move it, or just feels good in that moment. But people think it's a facial expression, which seems fair, right? I feel like most people don't randomly move their face as much as I do without it meaning something. But still, I feel like this would be me. Because especially if it's a quick 15-minute Zoom video or something, okay, cool. But if it's any longer than that, and it's not actually better in person, only you can't actually just turn off the camera and not have this issue in person. Oh, found them. I have not managed to misplace my glasses this much. Not this much, because I do sometimes take them off because they're annoying to me. And then I put them somewhere, and then I leave the room. Because I don't have, I haven't had my glasses for that long. I mean, it's been like 5 months or something at this point. But do you think I have managed to, have a set place for it, like I have with my keys, so I don't lose my keys? Because I've obsessively been thinking of places to put my keys, and obsessively putting them in the same places over and over again so I don't lose them. I don't have that down with my glasses, because I just put them wherever is convenient in that moment. So I have managed to lose them. I have not managed to bake them into bread or cake yet. So there's that at least. Okay, I need a day between every day to recover from the day before and prepare for the upcoming day, because this 5-week work week and then 2 days weekend isn't working. It really isn't. When I went to school to train for my job, I had a 4-day weeks. And it was legitimately the best thing ever. It was so good. Because I went to school from Monday through Thursday, and I could just do my doctor's appointments on Friday, or just have an extra day to recover or go grocery shopping while not too many other people are grocery shopping, because grocery stores are hell. And if 20 people are standing in a way versus just 2 or 3, it already makes a whole lot difference of being able to just get through it quickly, So yeah, 4-day weeks, great, but kind of having it spaced out differently would also be great. God knew I would be too powerful if I had an attention span. Whatever you need to tell yourself, Because yeah, I feel like it just kind of legitimately seems this way, because you've kind of gotten so used to it that you are just used to how much effort it takes you to do certain things. that, like, especially if you're like an adult and you've gotten like really used to it because you had a lot of years of like practice, really, it can kind of seem like if you suddenly had an attention span or if you suddenly had executive dysfunction, you would be unstoppable. Without recognizing that people aren't used to working 10 times harder than they currently have to do for everything, and that's why for them it doesn't really make a difference. But yeah, if we suddenly had an attention span, we would probably be unstoppable. And that will probably... For us, it would probably be great. For other people, maybe not so much. Okay, making people with ADHD organize appointments within specific time windows and adhere to strict deadlines just to get assessed or access medication is a bit like when they sell scissors in that thick plastic packaging that's only openable using scissors. Yeah, you have trouble staying organized? You probably have anxiety about appointments because you know you're always late? Well, go make an appointment. You hate phone calls? Well, better yet, you have to make it by phone. And it's not just a quick phone call, you will be stuck in the waiting hotline loop thingy for like at least 20 minutes because their phone lines are busy. Good luck. This is why I'm really glad I made my new appointment with my neurologist while I was still at the neurologist last time. Did I completely forget when the appointment is? Yes, it's some point in July, I think. That's all I know. That's all I know. I'll figure it out a few days before when my calendar reminds me. Because they gave me a little paper. You know, I used to hate it. I was always so worried when I went to the dentist alone when I was a child because they would give me this yellow card and I would have to put it in a pocket and hope it doesn't fall out on the bike ride home. And I kind of kept checking it like every 2 seconds while driving on my bike. And then I got home and handed it to my mom so she can put it in a calendar. You know, just a little fun fact, but this was literally me. I was standing there with the paper my neurologist gave me, waiting for the elevator. Or did I take the stairs? I don't know, I was standing in the hallway between like the stairs and the elevator and just put it into my phone so that even if I lose my little piece of paper with my appointment on it, I would still have it somewhere. Yeah. Oh well. And that's why I always scribble. Like if I make an appointment via phone call, I will just like scribble it somewhere and hope I don't accidentally remove it before I can put it in my phone. People with ADHD learning that their brain is 3 times faster than normal people's, but finding out that it's 3 times less efficient. I'm not sure this number is correct, but it kind of seems fair. It seems really fair, which is why autistic people will kind of have like an easier time predicting movies with like pattern recognition. ADHD people maybe just because their brain moves faster and they like went through a bunch of possibilities in their head and like figured it out, you know. But yeah, it does seem like it's 3 times less effective, really, because you will get distracted by anything and everything sometimes. So, not sure these exact numbers are correct, but it just seems very fair. When an app you use frequently keeps changing their user interface. But for why though? For why though? I hate to tell you this. Normally I'm a fan of Duolingo because they keep upsetting the conservatives because they throw in like random exercises of queer people, and I'm here for it. And I know they're not changing it just for shits and giggles. They sometimes change their entire app basically because like they want to make it more effective for learning. But still, do you have any idea how much that upsets me sometimes? When you just like randomly open it and you're already maybe having a day where you're just like, I don't know, I want to save my streak. I don't even want to. But then everything looks different and then you just take way longer than you were expecting to because you just wanted to do it for like a quick 5 minutes or something, and then I understand why you do it, but it still makes me very angry sometimes. Now this person was offered a selection of spoons with their dessert at some restaurant or cafe or something. And now, why you would even have some of these spoons, I really have to question. Because, like, the third from the right just looks... Like, if you use it as a serving spoon, okay. But who would want to put that in their mouth? This seems... Most of these seem kind of horrendous to me right now. I'm gonna be honest. But generally as a concept, offering, like, a variety of cutlery seems fair. It also seems, like, very hard to manage as a restaurant, so I get it that you don't, but it still would be, like, a really cool option. Me, using clear, concise, and direct communication at work. Being told I come across as aggressive and accusatory. Yeah. The level of frustratingness, because it kind of just sucks constantly having people misread your intention, because your intention was just to clear something up, or to explain why you did something a certain way, why it makes sense for you to do it, but then they're telling you that you're being rude, or that you're just making up excuses. And it's kind of, I want to say one of the most frustrating things, but then again, a lot of things in that moment feel like the most frustrating thing ever, you know? So, but still, it's probably up there. It's probably way up there. What do we say when someone gives you something? About time. This was someone's meme they made after finally receiving a promotion at work that they've just been working really hard for 2 years, which just seems fair. And this is one of the things, like, it seems really natural to say that, because you yourself have been, like, anticipating it for so long. And it might not feel that way to the other person, but it seems fair to want to say this. Even medicated, having mental illness and neurodivergence is exhausting day in and day out. I can never just be. I'm always over-planning and overthinking and over-explaining and over-analyzing, and frankly, some days I'm just overly done with it. Not a meme, but still important. Because this, like, how it still seems wild to me that some people can just be. That someday they literally just wake up being like, no, you know what, I don't feel like doing anything today. I'm just gonna spend the day sitting on the couch, scrolling through social media, or like watching like these few movies that I really wanted to catch up. And they just do that. And they just enjoy doing that without questioning every like 2 seconds if they should really be doing that, if people won't think they're lazy again, and if maybe they should just like at least do this 1 or 2 things, and then just like overanalyzing, they're not paying attention to the movie, not enjoying the movie, because you have to like either rewind or you just like keep watching and hope you didn't miss anything important. But that on a constant basis. Like, it's never just like neurotypical people. Of course, they get anxious. They, you know, have days where they're just like really in a bad mood, or just like overly agitated or annoyed. Sure. But kind of having this be your constant state of being because everything requires you to overanalyze and overthink gets really exhausting. How I feel trying to be feminine. This just as a general meme about how neurodivergent people are just kind of more likely to be trans, because gender is a social construct as is, and if you're someone who already struggles with social contracts because most of them don't make sense, it can feel exactly like this. Because you're already kind of performing your mask and then kind of having to perform your gender the way people expect it on top of it seems even more exhausting, really. Being an oddball with hyper-specific interests. Finding another hyper-specific oddball. Group of people chatting. Oh god. Oh god, but listen, it's great. I'm happy for you. Because we need friends like this. Come on. Having other friends who just like match your energy is just great. Like having friends who understand that energy and who are okay with that energy is one thing. But having someone who just like matches that energy and is just as unhinged in the same direction as you is just amazing. Me, genuinely tweaking because my family chews louder than a jet engine. I think we can all agree that someone making chewing noises while they eat is one of the worst things, and it's why I will mostly just refuse to eat with people while we're not watching something. Like no. I hate the tip of like neurotypics being like, no, but you can't watch something while you're eating because then you're not paying attention to your food. Trust me, I can pay better attention to my food while I'm watching something versus my thoughts are usually way more distracting. Like, my thoughts will go off on absolute tangents and then I finish my meal without even like noticing it. Versus watching something and then still paying more attention to the food. And I know it doesn't make sense to people and people will call it fake, but that's literally it. And then, especially if you're eating with other people, any sound to help drown out chewing noises is good, trust me. Me, trying to make a PowerPoint to convince my friend to rent an apartment with me. PowerPoints, Excel spreadsheets, any kind of pro-contra list. Just seems fair, really. Right? Because, like, you want to collect the reasons why it might be good. The problem is this kind of doesn't include this other person's needs, really. Like, if you know them well, because you're friends, you might be able to include some points, but you can never, like, fully know. So kind of making a spreadsheet or something together with your friends seems better. But still, kind of wanting to get your points straight and, you know, get it out into a PowerPoint or something seems very fair, actually. I find a new safe food. The company discontinues it. Or just changes the recipe like 2 weeks later and you can just taste it and the consistency is suddenly off and it's just rubbish. Why would you do this? Why would you do this? You can either like not find it anymore or they changed the recipe. Why? Why can't you just like leave things be? Just leave things be, please. The fairy's in my ear telling me to play the same song 15 times in a row. So it's not just the autism we're treating like as a separate entity, even though it's literally our brain. Just be like, oh yeah, no, the tism made me do it, you know, like the tism told me to. It's the fairies in my ear. Okay then. That moment when you have to make a call that you really don't want to make, but you still need to. And then the other person doesn't immediately pick up. Because sometimes, like especially at work, you can do the, oh, I tried calling you and just write them an email. But like if you actually have to call someone and then you end up like in the waiting loop or they just don't pick up for a long time, this phase seems really appropriate. Don't talk. This sign, I kind of want this sign, you know, as like a huge neon like flashy sign I can just like hold in people's faces if they talk too long or if they just talk to me when I'm trying to concentrate on something or when I'm just not in the mood for it or whatever. You know, like I used to have this coworker who learned very quickly not to talk to me in the morning. Like he would come in, he would say hello to me, but he would not try to like sit and chat with me for a minute because he learned quickly that I was constantly in a bad mood as soon as someone talked to me in the morning. So he just went to his place and, you know, then later dropped by. I was like, hey, do you want some coffee? Or just like sat down and chatted for a few minutes. So with him, I didn't need the huge neon flashy signs, but with some people, I probably do. When the bedtime got severe thunderstorm warning. I feel like some people hate rain sounds and they can't sleep with rain sounds or like thunderstorms. I really do. Like, I found rain sounds kind of calming. Always have. Like, what I don't find calming is you have like one of those like windows in the roof. Then it's just like really way too loud. Then it's like too loud. But if you have like a normal, vertical window, then it's fine. And then it's just kind of calming. And I never got the people who woke up from thunderstorms. Literally all my life. If I wasn't still awake when a thunderstorm was happening, because I've been fascinated with thunderstorms, so I was just like standing at my window looking out, or like sitting on the windowsill looking out. But like the people, like if I'm asleep, I'm gonna keep sleeping. The amount of times people in school or at work were like, oh my god, the thunderstorm last night, and I was like, what? The what now? I don't know, like I know it rained because everything was wet this morning, but I didn't know that was a thunderstorm. Oh well. Autistic people versus autistic representation characters. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, and that's why a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about autistic people and about what autism looks like, because if you're neurotypical, you have like no reason to look into it and like learn what autism can look like and how different autism can look like. Like, you have no reason to, really. So if then the only characters you see are like the same type of character, really, then of course you're gonna be confused when other people that aren't behaving like this character does are like, yeah, no, I'm autistic. You're just like, no, but that's not what autism looks like, because that's the only thing you know autism to look like. Is it ignorant? Sure. Is it ridiculous? Like, it seems really ridiculous to me, because how do you expect like a huge group of people to all be the exact same person, really, and just be like, no, but you act too differently than any autistic person I know? It seems wild to me that people expect that, but I kind of get why they do. Me, trying to learn from my mistake, because this is kind of what it seems like in social situations, because people just are too different. Like, you might really have success with something in a social situation with one person, but other people are too different. And it makes sense, of course, but it still makes it difficult. It just makes it difficult. I have no helpful advice about this. Instead of, well, I guess you just keep trying and try not to be rude, but people will still perceive you as rude even when you're not trying to be. So try not to overthink it, which is really, really easier said than done, and I am not good at following that advice myself. Autistic people trying to use sarcasm, but their voice is too monotone. Offended neurotypicals. But you have to use the sarcasm voice. Listen, I have a hard time with sarcasm. Like, I'm good at being sarcastic, and with some people, or with like a lot of people, I can tell when they're being sarcastic, because I've just gotten like used to their voice. But with other people, it doesn't matter. Like, I had this one coworker, I worked with her for like 2 or 3 years. I never got the hang of what her sarcasm voice was. I could never tell if she was being serious or if she was actually sarcastic. Some people I never quite figured out. So I just try to get around it, and try to react in a way that would be appropriate either way, which isn't easy, by the way, but I tried at least. Productivity hack, phone and syrup. When I'm working, I put my phone in a bowl of corn syrup. Trying to take it out is so messy and gross that it creates a sensory aversion stronger than my desire to check it. And actually, you can use any syrup. Please put your phone in a plastic bag. But fair enough. Like, even having to like get up and like get 2 forks or something to fish it out to like not have to touch it as much does seem too complicated. It's a little bit like locking your phone away, like these boxes that you can like lock your phone in and like set a timer for whatever, 45 minutes. But I feel like this hack will still work better for neurotypical people, because we've been over this. We can get distracted by anything and everything. Like, just because you don't have a phone. Like, if you have to work on your laptop, it's still very easy. But even if you like actually work on a piece of paper because you think better on paper than just like trying to write out like a to-do list or structure your what you're gonna do the next few months or book any kind of plan or something, it would still work better because hey, we have thoughts, we have hands, we have a whole apartment or office or anything. Like a lot of these tips will probably still be more helpful to neurotypical people. Or like, oh well, this distraction is too inconvenient, so I guess we'll just do the thing. Kind of seems interesting that that works for some people, really, just because it's not my experience. Anyways, that was all the memes I have for today. I definitely have to come back and do this again because I love these memes. Some of them are just like so frustrating because they just like hit my core because they're too accurate. But I guess we'll be in pain together. You know? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're hydrated. I'll have to go finish my coffee because I made iced coffee and it's really getting warm. And I'll see you guys in a few days with my next video.